Welcome back. Today we're going to go through what's happened in the market. We've had a lot of bearish action. We've had an incredible decrease in price lately. So we're going to see where we are and we're going to plan our next trades. We're going to see where we can make some money from next. So just to keep things in perspective, we're still in this 4-hour range or 8-hour range now, whatever you want to call it. We just know we haven't yet broken that daily structure yet, right? So on a daily, we still have this as our daily level, which comes in at 50,661. Okay, and why is that our daily level? Well, that's our daily level because if we look at our daily market structure, we simply go, move up, down, move up. Okay, and all of this is our internal daily structure. Okay, so until we take out this high, then this becomes our last higher low. If we take out this high, then yes, we can draw that in. This becomes our daily structure, but we haven't done that yet. So our daily structure is still intact, which means we're kind of just playing this within the intraday range. This is a range that we're playing, but within this range, we have internal ranges. We've had this nice little accumulation and distribution model here, which we broke bearish from. We were able to catch the trade all the way from that internal range high. Okay, and then if you held on to that trade, let's see how much profit you would have been in. Let's say you got in around there, not the exact top. You'd have had to put your stop loss, or if you're practicing what I preach here, you'd have had to put your stop loss perhaps above that level. And let's say you didn't take any profits until the current price action. So if you didn't take any profits, you would be at 8.8x. So that means if you risked, or if you put 10 grand on that trade, you'd be up $88,000. Or if you put 1 grand on that trade, you'd be up 8.8 grand. Okay, so not bad for a single trade. Okay, well, let's see what's happened in the meantime. So as of our last stream, we're looking at very specific areas. We've got a gold trade here, which we're looking. I actually posted a USD JPY, so check that out if that's a pair you trade. But today we're talking about Bitcoin, so let's focus on Bitcoin. And these were the levels we were potentially looking out for, our areas of interest. We said we've had this massive bear move down. We've broken bearishly from that distribution, all right? Very aggressive. But we said we don't look to enter on that first entry, do we? We look to potentially enter on that second entry. So we're going to be looking on that second entry to see if we have any market structure change. So on here I said, just basically saying there's a potential long and short. And we said we were looking for this high to get swept in the case we sweep that high before we rotate down. Okay, and we said we're also looking for a continuation play in the case this is carrying on. All right, but for each, this is the beauty about trading this way and trading using market structure. You see, there's no harm in practicing and planning as many trades as you want based on what you understand about what price is going to do. As long as you wait for confirmation, you will be fine. As long as you wait for confirmation before you click buy or before you click sell, you will be just fine. Okay, so looking at this trade, we're going to check and say, okay, well, we had area number 1, we had area number 2, we had area number 3. From what prices then, I can tell you none of those trades, right, were winning trades. But we're also going to look at today, should we have entered those trades? Did we get the confirmation to enter those trades? Okay. And what you find is when you wait for market structure, when you trade patiently, all right, and you just follow the technical advice and you be patient, you actually do not need, you won't find yourself in many losing trades. You just won't. And you have a much higher hit rate. So let's go back and let's look at each and every one of those trades, or perhaps we can actually just look at it on this diagram here. Let's see if we got a market structure. So I'm going to play that. All right, and what we got this flush down, man. Oh my goodness, we got this flush down. But we're going to talk about the flush in a second. So let's see. Trade number 1, did that occur? Well, it didn't. Price isn't even near that area, so we can discard that idea. Trade number 2, yes, we had this 10 minutes demand zone. Did we get a change in market structure in that zone? No, we didn't. Because look, if we have a low, a high, what happened after that? A complete drop down. Okay. All right. Now looking at this zone, did we get a change in market structure here? Well, we have a low, a high. Okay. So we have price coming down. This becomes a level to break. Did we break that level? No, we didn't. So there is absolutely no reason on earth why you should be on in a trade here or in a trade here. Okay. So what I do here is I give you the potential ideas, I give you the signals, but it's still up to you to look for the confirmations and wait to see whether it's worth entering. For example, up here, the trade we all entered, did we get confirmation? Yes, we had a high, a low, a high. Then we came back to break that structure here. So we got that break in structure, you see. All right, we've got that retrace, and then we would have been able to enter here to flush that down. Okay, so that's how we enter trades here. So there's no reason why you should be in a trade, based on those signals that was put out earlier. So what's happened here? Well, what's happened here is we're playing in this internal range, and if we start on the 4 hour, I think it's worth just showing you the story on the 4 hour, or maybe the 8 hour, to build up that narrative to see exactly what price has been up to. So if we look at the market structure from this range low, we can see that price comes down, up, down, breaks structure, all right, retraces, SFPs, breaks structure again, retraces, comes further down, all right. And then what happens after that? This is key. Now after that, what we can see is that price breaks structure immediately bullishly. So I'm going to make this nice and thick, and I'm going to make this a different color, let's say purple. So price breaks structure immediately. Where does that break happen? Well, that break happens here. All right. What does that mean? That means price is actually allowed, in terms of this structure pool that we've got drawn out, price is allowed to rotate or retrace all the way down here for that continuation. It's allowed to do that. It really is allowed to do that. And where could it potentially get a reaction from? Well, we're going to be looking at this leg to see, do we have any zones in here? And what you find is, yes, you have a demand zone here, okay, which we can stretch out in a second for that potential reaction. That's where we're going to look for a trade, okay? And then we're also going to say, well, we have a little bit of demand over here, and that's been respected once, all right? And perhaps we've got a little bit left here, which is what price seems to be reacting from, or at least getting that slight support from. Could we bounce there? Of course we could bounce from there, all right? But we won't be entering any of these trades until we get a clear confirmation. So what does that mean? That means price is allowed to distribute in order to come back down to go back up. It really is. And in that case, you would be at your discount of your range. Okay, remember, this is your discount and this is your premium. Of course, price could actually fail that demand. It could break below that demand, okay, and rally all the way down to the range low, which would be a nice play, because then we would have maybe tap 1, tap 2, and to go up, okay, and that could give us that tap 2 and up, because on up we've got tap 1, tap 2, and then that could bring us down. All right, now how's that for some price action? All right, so let's get rid of all of that, but I hope you understand what I mean there. And this is just what I'm thinking, and this is just how I sort of see the price action, how I read these charts. All right, so now that's obviously the wider range, but that's going to take ages. I don't think that's going to happen. If we are to rotate back to the range low, that's not going to happen until end of the month, June 23rd. Okay, what can we say within this zone we're in? So within this zone, why don't we zoom in? Okay, so what seems to be happening is that obviously price has reacted from that high. It's given us that reaction at that high, and then what price has done is formed this almost like a bear flag, isn't it? This is kind of looking like a retail bear flag, where you've got the leg down and then you've got that flag, okay, and then you've got that continuation down. Almost looks like a bear flag. No matter what it looks like, bear flag, or even if it's formed like a retail head and shoulders here before it drops, no matter what it looks like, this was simply, a little range or pause for that continuation downwards. In a similar way, price would usually go up, range a little bit, come down before it pumps again. That's exactly what's happened, just in the reverse direction. Okay, so I genuinely think the more and more time you spend reading these charts, especially as beginners, the more and more you start to kind of make sense of the price action. And I've never really explained this to anyone, but I think the more time you spend reading the charts, the more you start to see the bull and bear scenario as a flat mental plane. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone, but as a flat mental framework, whereby all your bullish scenarios and all your bearish scenarios in your mind, they almost become identical, and you can see the charts as flat rather than looking at the charts at, well, bullish, we're going up, and thinking about everything as a bull, or thinking about everything as a bear. You kind of see it as a map. The more time you spend on, or maybe that's just the way my brain works. But yeah, so let's go back into the price action. So what do we expect right now? Well, we have just one more trade based on the setups we had. We have just one more trade. We know this trade didn't pan out. Okay, we've got one more trade, which is the sweep of the range low. The sweep of the range low, and that's where we are. We are at that internal range low. So based off of that, what am I looking for at that sweep? Well, at that sweep, it makes sense for me to realize that, hey, I have just broken bearishly from my range, that distribution. All right. So what this would be a redistribution, wouldn't it? So we had down, then up, then down. This is known as a redistribution. And if it was up, we're up, accumulate and up, this would be called a reaccumulation. So we know, hey, we've broken bearishly from this range. All right, what tends to happen when price breaks bearishly? Well, you tend to get a retracement. Did we get that retracement? Well, we did. We got a small one. We broke here, tiny break, but we did come back and test that zone. We got a small retracement. All right, so if you were watching the charts when that happened, yes, you could have probably ridden this down and entered a trade, right there. And that trade would have been a decent one. It's not something I gave out. It's not something we planned out, but it's something price does time and time again. So why not? All right, so we have had that retracement. We've had that mitigation of the old range. All right, and then, subsequently, price has kind of it's come down. It's come down in a very strange way. Okay, but in a good way. It's come down in a strange, but in a good way. And I'm going to tell you why this is strange and why this is good. The reason it's strange is because, on the higher time frame, let's say we're looking at the 45 minute, this just looks like one big spill, one big water spill. Okay? No real sense in terms of this, no real structure. All right? But if we look at this perhaps on a 10-minute time frame, what we see is that we have quite clear market structure. And we have quite clear market structure coming into our range low. We have a series of lower highs and lower lows as we come down. Okay, and it's building up quite nicely. It's building up quite nicely, this being our last level. Now, if we are to get a flip in market structure at this range low, I would 100% be looking for a long on that retracement. Okay, to ride that at least to this 1 hour supply that we have above us, and at least next to that level, which is our POC of our last old range. So this market structure is looking nice. Now, what else can we see about this market structure? Well, we've built a nice trend line of liquidity. Look at all these stop losses over here. We've got people who shorted here, people who shorted here, people who shorted here, who shorted here. So we've got lots of fuel, lots of stop losses that can very quickly get run. Bang. Okay, at least to that level. And where is that level? Again, it's at that zone. Yeah, so not only is this a key zone to look for a short, it's also a key zone in terms of your profit target if we get the long confirmation here, as I just spoke about. Okay, that's one of the things I'm looking out for, the long that. As you can see on my chart, I've already got my lines out. So our last level to watch out for is this level. We're looking to see if that breaks, and that's coming in at 67,074. If that breaks, if we break bullishly from there, yeah, I'll put a little 1% on that and see how that goes. Okay. All right. Now that's what's going to happen at the range low. Okay, that's our last potential setup that could potentially play out based on what I've given. All right. So now TJ, okay, cool. In the case that doesn't happen, what's next? Well, if that doesn't happen, that means we broke bearishly from this internal range, right? So why don't we zoom out to see if we did break bearishly out of this range, what do we have underneath us? Well, if we break bearishly out of this range, we can see that we do have a little bit of demand here. So we just need to check this, to see whether we have an extra zone that we could react from. Now, if we find ourselves breaking below this level, and that's coming in at 64,776. If we find ourselves losing that level, if we find price doing something like this, let's say we get a retracement. Ideally, I don't want to see a retracement here, because if we get a retracement here, we are tempted to enter that long. Let's say we come down like this, we break down, okay, and we close below that level. Well, if we close below that level, what was I saying yesterday? So yesterday I was showing you guys how fair value gaps work and how they usually get filled. Okay, I was showing you guys we had fair value gaps here, price came back to fill it. Fair value gap here, price came back to fill it. We had this gap here, which inevitably price played around for a bit, but it came back to fill it. Okay, and I spoke about this fair value gap that we had, followed by this fair value gap that we had. Okay, price immediately came back to fill it, but what if prices then wicked that level in order to fill this second fair value gap? Okay, I'm calling it singular fair value gap so it makes sense, but of course it's not just a singular fair value gap, but you get the idea. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that if we do lose this level at 64,776, the rotation downwards could be very quick. It could be very, very quick. All right, that's something to watch out for. But where could we get potential support? Well, our next level of support, or at least notable support, I think is this daily zone we have here. We have a daily demand zone here. So this would be where I'm going to look for my next reaction. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plan a potential long here as my next POI. And this would fit my bullish narrative as far as market structure goes. What's my bullish narrative? My bullish narrative is, yes, on the way down, on some higher time frame. Obviously, it's not clear here, but I'm sure on some higher, if we look carefully, on some higher time frame, you broke structure here. Now you're retracing for that higher low to put in potentially a higher high. Okay, this being obviously your last range, your last demand range. Okay, and this being where we get that reaction. So I'm going to be looking here to see, are we going to get a nice change in market structure as we come down here? And if we do, yes, I'm in. Yeah, very simple. If we do, I'm in. I'm going to get into that long. Okay, and I'm going to set my stop loss above that last low. So that's a potential long that I am looking for. Okay, and let's see, is there anything else that piques my interest? Of course, we've got this range low, long at the range low. We all know that. Every single trader in the world knows that's a key level. Okay, but let's see. Well, we also have some shorts in play. Well, first of all, I'm going to check this zone here quickly to see if we have anything left over. We may potentially have a zone in there that may keep price up. So I'm going to take a quick look at that and see whether we can find that, if we do have a zone in there somewhere. All right, so bear with me. I'll try and make this as quick as possible. So yeah, this is the process I would usually go through, just to check to see if we have any zones, any notable reaction zones. Is that one? Nope, that's been mitigated. Is that one? That is one, although it's quite small. It's on a 24-minute. But it's a zone regardless, so I'm just going to draw that out. Okay. And we're gonna leave it there for a sec. Well, do your own TA, and check. Do your own TA and check out whether we have anything else left in there. Oops, so I'm going to draw that out. As a potential zone to watch out for. My computer's a bit slow today, very slow today, and I think we're going to run out of time in a second. But anyways, you get the idea. So draw that across, and that'll be a potential POI as well. All right. Don't forget, we do have some continuation shorts in a sense that price could retrace up, and if it retraces, I'm going to be looking at this 1 hour zone for a reaction, and then I'm also going to be looking at this old value area low with that POC to see if we also get a reaction from that. Okay, so those will be my next short plays. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of what I'm looking for at the moment. I'm going to look for a reaction there. Also going to see what happens as we generally approach this old range to see if we get a reaction. Now, if we fail those zones, we're coming down fast. All right, and that's it. So if you found this useful, don't forget to hit the follow button for more updates. And also hit me up on YouTube, hit me up on Discord, and I will be posting the link to the charts on Discord as well. So if you want access to my charts, feel free to join the Discord, and that will be on the Discord channel. Otherwise, have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.